lesson is the measures of central tendency, okay, which we have already discussed. All right. So statistics are numerical values used to summarize and compare sets of data. Okay, two important types of statistics are measured of central tendency and measures of dispersion. Okay, central tendency is our mean, median, and mode. Dispersion looks at the spread, which is the range. Okay, those are two things we look at. So the number of goals scored in the last 10 hockey games are as follows. What is the mean number of goals? List the data in order. What is the median? Okay, do any of the scores repeat? So as a recall, I want you to quickly do this first problem. We should know how to do this. All right. What is the mean number of goals? Yep. 2.6. Add them all up and divide by 10. What is the median? We have to list them in order. Okay? Yep.
0.5.
The median is the middle. Okay? So when we put them in order, we have 0, 1. I'm going to cross out as I go. We have 1, 2, 3. So we have 10 numbers here, okay, in goals. What would be the middle? 2, okay? Now, if I took this one, do I have the even amount? I'm just saying, say if there was a different number here. What would I have to do? Yep. Take the average of the middle. This happens to be the same. But if, say, this was 3, okay, when there's an even amount of data, you put them in order, take the two middle numbers, and take the average, okay? Do any of the scores repeat? Yes, which is what? 2. So the mode is 2. Some of the options, you could have no mode, where there's no repeats whatsoever. You could have more than one mode, okay? So if our class, let's just say, had even amount of 15 and 16, it would be the same mode, 15 and 16, okay? The mean or the average, okay? The sum of numbers divided by the number of values in the data set. When we get to the calculator, which we are today, okay, the mean is denoted by X bar, okay? It's an X with a line over it, all right? The median is the middle number. We know this already. The mode is the most frequent or the most common, okay? So now we're going to try to look at the differences between Office A and Office B. So I want you quickly to find the mean, median, and mode for both. All right, so for Office A, what is the mean, Charlie? 22. Zoe, what's the median? 20. The mode, Campbell? What is the most frequent? 24, good. Okay. For Office B, Ryder, what's the mean? Mean is 16, good. James, what's the median? 18. Christian, what's the mode? 18. Okay, very simple, and that's by doing it by hand, obviously using your calculator to add and divide. Okay, the measure of dispersion tells you how spread out the data values are. Okay, for right now we'll be using the range. Okay, it's not really as reliable as when we get to standard deviation. Okay, the range just looks at how spread out the values are by taking the max, the largest, subtracting the min. Okay, so if we turn to the next page, very quickly, the data set below gives you the waiting times in minutes of students waiting for the bus. Find the range. So what is our highest number? How many minutes? Riley? 15. What is the lowest? 2. So our range would be Good. Okay. So some important facts to determine, okay, to determine which measure of central tendency should be used, okay? This is important, okay? Especially if you have an outlier. What is an outlier? Yep. It's one that doesn't fit in. So if we have all the test scores roughly in the 90s, okay? Someone, let's say, got a 50. Is that an outlier? Yeah. What would happen with the average if I have that outlier? Bring it down. Would the median change though? No. So one key component, if you have an outlier that drastic, let's just say, the median would be used, okay? The middle will hardly change, roughly stay the same. The mean will drastically change if there's an outlier. So if there's no outliers and say everyone got roughly between an 80 and 90 on a quiz, I would use the average, okay? But if someone got, we have 80 and 90s and then a 50, I would use the median, okay? The mode is how many repeated values. So the mode can be used in terms of clothing. Okay, if you're wanting to know what color shirt to order, you look at how many like green shirts were sold as opposed to how many yellow. Okay. You are competing in an air hockey tournament. The winning scores for the first 10 games are below. Okay. Find the mean, median, mode, and range of the data set. Round to the nearest tenth. Okay. Then the winning score in the next game is a 3. Add this score to the list and find the new median, mode, and range. Okay. So I want you to try A and B. Go ahead. All right. Let's go through A. The mean, remember, is X bar. Okay. What is the mean for A, Kaylin? 13.9. The median, KR? 14. Good. The mode, Kaden? 15. Good. Nick, the range? 6. Good. 17 minus 11. Excellent. How many of you did get this for A? Good. Okay. Victoria, B. What does it mean? Okay. So the winning score in the next game is a 3. Okay. So add a 3 here. And what did you say? Sorry, it was very low. 14.2. 14.2. How many of you guys got that? Okay. How did we get that? Yeah, Jaden. Okay. How many of you? Let's go through it. Okay. The winning scores for the first 10 games. 14, 15, 15, 17, 11, 13, 12, 15, and 13. The winning score in the next game is a 3. Add this score to the list. So what are you dividing by? That's why. The winning scores for the first 10 games are this. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Interesting. So then, so I'm trying to guess what I did here. Did I divide by 10? Did we get 13.9 for the first? So did we divide by 9 or divide by 10? So I must have divided by 9 and I have no idea. Okay. Woo. All right. So now if we divide by 10 here, right? Then, okay. Then we 12.8, right? Okay. I have no. Okay. All right, the median. Yeah, Kaden. 13.5. Wow. Good catch there, kid. Mode. 15. And the range. Okay. So what did we notice? What did that outlier have? Yeah. The mean and the range. Did it affect the median slightly? Okay, it did slightly, but not a big change like the other two, right? So anytime we have an outlier, okay, it's really going to affect the mean and the range. Okay, what stayed the same? The mode. The mode stayed the same, okay, which typically will happen if you have an outlier. It doesn't matter, all right? So take out your calculators, okay? We're going to use this data set above, all right, to enter this in our calculator. The calculator we will be using especially when we get to some other measures of central tendency, other graphs, okay? So in your graphing calculator, if you go to, all right, stat, which is below the delete key, edit. Okay, you have list 1, list 2, list 3, list 4, list 5. We're really spending our time in L1, okay? So for list 1, you are going to enter in the winning scores that we have so far without the 3, okay? So we have 14, type it in, then hit enter, then 15, enter, 15, 17, 11, 13, 12, 13. Okay. So once you, oops, I forgot. 13. Okay. Once you have your winning scores in your calculator in L1, okay, you go to stat, move the cursor to the right where it says calc. Then you're going to look at this one variable statistics. One var stat, hit enter. Okay, those of you with this screen, you're going to hit enter until calculate is highlighted. Then hit enter. Some of you may not have it, might just jump to it. Okay, so X bar is the mean. Did we get this? Yes, we did. Okay, then if you press the arrow, the N tells us how many scores were entered. So I think this is what I did for this one. The median is 14. Did we find that as well? Yes. The only thing this does not show is what? The mode. There's no magic button for mode. Okay? The range. You take your maximum minus your minimum. Yes. Okay. So we were here. Set edit. Entered all the scores there. Then go back to that stat key. Press the right arrow to calculate. One var stat, you're going to hit enter. And then it says list. Some of you may have this, some of you may not. Keep enter, pressing enter until calculate is hit. Then you get this. Okay, you're welcome. Now, for this small data set, do we have to use our calculator? No. However, when we have this large data set, it's going to be easier, right? Now, the only problem with this, it doesn't show the mode. But there's a way you could put this list in ascending order from least to greatest, so you could scroll to see, okay? So if we go to, back to stat, where it says sort, number 2, okay, sort A, which it says, then you're going to do second 1, which is L1, hit enter. Now go back to your list. Stat, edit, it's in order. And that's how you could see where the mode is, especially if you have a large data set, okay? Now, when you go to a next problem and you want to clear this list, okay, this is very important because it will delete it. So when you're in your list, highlight L1, press the up arrow. Do not hit delete. Hit clear, then enter. Wipes out the whole thing. If you hit delete, L1 would disappear. So anytime you do another problem and enter in the next list, it's going to calculate the first list when you don't even see it. There's a way to get it back, don't worry. But you want to hit clear, not delete. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to practice some with the calculator. Okay, if you don't have a calculator, there's not a lot of data points for you to do this by hand. Okay, so I want you to try on the next page, practice using your calculator, the daily high temperatures the past 2 weeks in Orlando. So 1 through 4. This should literally take maybe 5 minutes. Okay, yeah, Catherine. Yours might. Let me. All right. Looking at the high temperatures for the past 2 weeks in Orlando, everything we have on the board is 88.3. Okay, is the average 88.5. The mode. Yep. 90 and 88. Why? Yep, they're both appearing 3 times. Okay, and the range was 10. So number 1, just remember the mode can appear more than once. Just be careful. 88 and 90. Good. You could have more than one mode. Number 2, 24.9 is the average. 25, and then the mode would be what? 25, right? Because how many does 25 show up? 3. And 33? Only 2. So it's the most. Oops. 25. Okay. And the range was 38. So number 3, we have the average of 85.11 or 85.1. The median was 84. There was no mode. Okay. Some of you with some different calculators showed mode coming up all as many times as there was because it's only one number, but there's no mode in this case. The range is 26. Excellent. For 4, the average was 547.3. The median 575. Again, there was no mode, and the range was 550. Okay. How many of you got all 4 of those correct? As you should. Okay. Good. All right. The next few that we are going to see today is going through the number of snowboarding accidents reported weekly during one winter session at the no accident resort were the following. Find the mean to the nearest tenth, find the median, find the mode. Very straightforward of what we've been doing. Then answer these 2 questions. A teenager wants to emphasize the safety of snowboarding. Which measure of central tendency would the teen use? A parent wants to emphasize the dangers of snowboarding. Which measure of central tendency should the parent use? Okay, so go through number 5. If you go through number 5 and in about a minute or 2, once you find A through E, consult with someone next to you to compare answers. Okay. All right, let's go through this. So what is the mean for number 5? Riley? 11.7. Good. What is the median? 12. Good. What is the mode? 8. Good. Okay. So a teenager wants to emphasize the safety of snowboarding. Which measure of central tendency should the teen use? Excellent and perfect explanation. The mode is he or she wants to show the least amount of accidents. Good. Okay. A parent wants to emphasize the dangers of snowboarding. Yep. Use the median because it's the most. Okay, awesome. Okay. Now, I want you guys to look at number 7. Okay. And where you see 2013, this should be 2000. Okay. All right. So in January of 2019, Benson family moved to a tropical but rather rainy climate. For the year that followed, Terry Benson recorded the number of rainy days that occurred each month. His data contained the following. Okay. So right now, find the mean, median, and mode for Terry's data. Okay. Data set of raining days. So we're going to first start with that. What was the mean? What was the mean? Yeah, Grant. Good, 11.75. What was the median? Yeah, Riley. 11.5. And what was the mode? Nick? 11 and 14. Okay? 11 and 14. So, here's a question for you. What do you think would happen if these rainy days doubled each month? So, instead of 14, then if it doubled, what would it be? 28, okay? So on and so forth. So what would happen? What do you think would happen? Yeah, Catherine. They would all double. The mean, median, and mode would all double. You could also do this in your calculator to check it. But if we were to double the mean, what would we get? Good. 23.5. The median, if that was to double, what would we get? Yep. 23. And if the mode, yep, go ahead, Kate. So again, if each of them each month were to double, everything changes. Okay. Now, if instead there were 3 more rainy days per month, so instead of 14, we're now at what? Instead of 10, we'll be at what? 13. So if each month added 3 more days, what else is going to add? What's going to change here? What would the new mean be? David? 14.75. What would the median be? 14.5. And the mode? Okay. So if all of these data numbers, this data set was to double, mean, median, and mode would also double. If we add 3 more rainy days to each that were recorded, the mean, median, and mode would also increase by 3. Okay? So if everything changes, the mean, median, and mode also changes. Okay? We're going to see eventually that if one of those scores change, what will be affected. Okay? If you turn to number 10, Okay, the reason we're skipping around so we could wrap up and you guys can look at your midterms. Okay. So number 10. You received the following test grades this quarter in math: 78, 92, 85, and 88. If you want to have an average that is higher than 87, okay, what would you need to get on your 5th math test? So what would we have to do? Hmm? Yeah, Grant. Okay. Excellent. So we're talking about the average, which is adding 78 plus 92 plus 85 plus 88. We don't know what that 5th test is, so it's the unknown. And we're taking the average, which is divided by 5. But we want to have grade final average of 87. So we set up this proportion, which is exactly what Grant said. You would multiply 5 times 87, which is what? 435. Good. 435. And what happens when I add up 78, 92, 85, and 88? $343. And then when I subtract 343, what do I need on my 5th test? Yep. 92. 92 or higher. Okay, 92 or higher. So exactly what Grant said. They wrote it algebraically so you could see it. Okay, more formally. All right. Okay. If you go back to number 8, I want you to work on number 8. You can work on with someone next to you. Okay, work on number 8. In a few minutes, I will be passing out your midterms. Okay. Hopefully, everyone's phone is up there. No phones, no watches, no anything. You can take pictures of this because it is a district exam. Okay. So all phones and everything should be up here. Yeah. Okay. Hold on 1 second. All right. So you guys are going to work on number 8. I will be going through passing out these midterms shortly. I'm going to tell you there was one adjustment that I made on all of your scores after they were entered. So you guys know. That were updated before grades closed anyway. And we'll go through that in a few minutes. So work on number 8. Through these quickly. All right, for 8A, the mean was 6, median was 8, the mode was 10. So all of 8A was correct. 8B, the mean was 10, median was 8. What was the mode, Kate? 6. Okay. So for 8C, which measure of central tendency would show you the Argyle stocks are selling better? It would be the mode. Good. How about plaid? It would be the mean. Excellent. Then, which measure of central tendency would you use to show there's no difference? The median, because they're both the same. And the last one, which knee socks had a larger spread of sales, which was the plaid. Okay. The spread talks about what? The range. Okay, excellent. All right. So